Guys, good evening. Welcome to another late night stream. So, after the last days I had some lazy streaming, now you see me back on UBOAT, my other favorite. So, let's check what the situation actually is. I think I have to tune down the game volume a bit. Alright. So here we are on the far side of the Atlantic. We are on a mission towards the Canadian coast. It's June, beginning of June in the year of 1942. Yeah, that means we are more than 2.5 years into the war. I've been starting this campaign from the very scratch in Wilhelmshaven with a small, tiny Type 2 submarine with very few torpedoes, low range, low maximum speed. And yeah, I've earned my merits, as you see, and over the time got promoted to better submarines, and now my home port is La Rochelle, and I'm the proud captain of a Type 7C. I have even finished the Black Pit mission, which gave me the very first milk cow that I ever had in the game. And well, we are in one mission which tells us to patrol this area out of, offshore the Canadian coast. And if we look at it, we have finished this one here, which was a benchmark of 50,000. Now our next milestone would be having to sink 100,000, means another 50,000 ships. Yeah. You see, doing all the way over the Atlantic drained something like 40% of our fuel. So now I'm gonna radio for the milk cow. It must be somewhere in this area. And the milk cow is a very bulky submarine, which I positioned around here, to refuel us. And it also supplies rearmament with torpedoes and food and stuff. So that's pretty comfortable. And this is actually just something like 2 weeks ago. I was happy to use a milk cow for the very first time. I played the game since something like 5 years, and I never did a playthrough so far that I actually was owning a milk cow. So what do we have here? The radio. Let's see what the guys are doing. Man, the radio. Here we are, request resupply. That's what we need now. So this will be sent to the headquarters, and the headquarters will address it to the milk cow.
Funkspruch erhalten.
Okay, the coordinates are added on the map. Yeah, pretty close already. There we are. Let's get there. By the way, let's save the game. A new one, new day, new save, W196. Yeah, turning around. And let's go for the milk. It might become a bit tough to find the milk cow in this bad weather. If you consider that it's only 2:30 in the afternoon, we have, felt zero visibility actually. Yeah, that's it. Bad weather. But yeah, this is one of the great things about the game, how atmospheric they kind of create this scenery. Yeah, guys, nice to have you in. That's pretty great. So at the moment I just look at the numbers and no idea who you are, so just watch if you like to watch. No problem, just lurking, that's perfectly fine, but of course you always make me happy to start a little chat, or just give me a hi or thumbs up or comment on the game, what your experiences in the game are. Are you an old salt, experienced UBOAT player, or are you just starting up, trying to get some information how it works? Okay, by the way, Mr. Henry can go back to off-watch to save his stamina. Pretty strong waves. Let's see, we have a wind speed of 24 knots, which is almost the maximum that you can get in the game around here. Yeah, let's do a bit of time acceleration. And then maybe send 2 more crew hands to the bridge. Oh, there they are.
Torpedorohr 5 gewartet. U-Boot 5 Grad.
Yeah, it must be dead ahead, and some crew member seems to have spotted it already, but I don't. Yeah, let's use the binoculars maybe. We said 5 degrees. Ah shit, it's just hidden behind this piece of equipment, which is the passive radar detector. It's quite a bit in the way for observation. It's this kind of mounting. No.
Alle Maschinen stopp.
Here we are. And send a delegation. So the usual crew is our chief engineer. Ah shit. Didn't just want to send one guy. But maybe that's sufficient. Yeah, that's a good try. Let's see if it makes any difference if I only send one guy onto the mission. Oh, is service going on? Well, some small talk. Let's skip that. And let's see the cargo. Get the bread. Should I really? Not quite sure whether this is a good idea. Refuel, that's maybe I already did it the last mission. I just forgot to refuel. I somehow have that gut feeling. So everything was alright except for the fuel. Hey, chainsaw! Good evening, nice to have you in. Yeah, that's actually my gut feeling that I have. I think I already did the meeting on the last stream. I'm not sure anymore. It's a few days ago and I did a lot of these DayZ in between. But maybe I already had that rendezvous. So I should be fine. What about the items? Can't get more stuff, so that's fine. So most important thing was to refuel. Yeah, Chainsaw, how are you doing? How was your Friday? Hey, how was your Thursday? I wanted to ask. So we are almost there. Almost there, end of the week. Okay, so after having refueled, the weather has been improving a bit. Yeah, okay, alright. Yeah, I was lucky I could do some home office today. Although, yeah, it was still pretty busy. Okay, yeah, alright. Yeah, at the moment I'm in the lucky condition that I usually can do home office on Fridays and pretty often can do also home office on Thursdays, depending on the workload. Well, I mean, not so much depending on the workload, but more like if there is any necessity to be on site. And yeah, I usually could manage that I don't have to be on site on Fridays. Okay, yeah, sounds pretty alright. Yeah, on my side it was also okay today. I mean, we have got some pressure from management to save money, and so there is this kind of yeah, making plans how to reduce costs for the next years. It's always a bit kind of, yeah, troublesome, but yeah, I think we are on a good way. Okay. Yeah, sounds interesting. Sounds pretty interesting. Let's keep going. Let's get away and let's get towards our final destination, the patrol area. Sorry. Such bad weather. Yeah, Mr. Trummel is officer of the watch at the moment, so let him have a look at the map to make sure that navigation correctness is gonna stay on a high level. Yeah, Chainsaw, I'm not quite sure. Do you play U-Boat by yourself? Yeah, I quite love the game for all this atmosphere. I mean, look at how they actually do the graphics and the rain and the weather and everything. The spray when the bow cuts through the waves. I really love that game. Yeah, well, okay, 100 hours, that's alright, so you do have quite some experience. So actually, on the timeline, I can't quite put it together anymore when we got the updates. But you already have played it since it went from early access to real release. That was last year, right? So I think this year there was, let me think, what any major update? They updated something about the damage model of the merchants, which I quite like. Yeah, evading the depth charges. Yep. Actually, I'm playing maximum difficulty level, but there is one thing that I didn't put on maximum. Let me show you. In the settings. What is it? Gameplay, isn't it? No. Yeah. Here, damage difficulty, so I put everything to hard and realistic, but damage difficulty I really put just to medium, because even then, when you get charged by death charges, yeah, I can't imagine to do it on maximum. Like with medium it feels alright, and I think even the developers more kind of recommend to do it on medium. So I'm still on 96% of realism level. And yeah, my strategy, which did work out quite well in the last months, is as soon as I hear an enemy man of war, an enemy escort right above me, I put in flank speed and change my direction by 90 degrees, and this often helps to evade them hitting us with the depth charges. Like when they're just above you, nobody would hear you go in flank speed because their propellers would just camouflage your noise. So just go flank speed, change course, and as soon as I am on the new course, 90 degrees off, I stop the engines, or well, go back down to silent running. And repeat this. I had quite some success to finally bore the escorts away. Now, yeah, give it a save. And let's time accelerate and get to the patrol area. 10 o'clock is change of watch, so let's do a bit of micromanagement to save fuel. Now it's the watch of Mr. Arlos, who is our first mechanic. And if I address him 2 additional sailors, he's gonna save something like 30% of fuel by optimizing all the vents and settings of the engines. There they are. Yeah, let's check the stores. I'm pretty overloaded with stuff at the moment. Yeah, that's right, but yeah, these 3 guys, they are my watch officers. And so usually when I'm not particularly keen on saving fuel, I always let the 2 guys have a rest and just let the 3rd one doing something. So when the turn of the watch comes to Mr. Trummel, I let him do the map thingy. Exactly, yeah. Wow. Hey, Pitt. That's great. Good evening, and thank you very much for the raid. Beautiful. Hey, Scratchy. So I get the note that this is your first participation in the chat, but I'm pretty sure that you were in the chat before, or, well, was it somebody else? I definitely had another guy in the chat whose name was Scratchy. But, well, the overlay says that it wasn't you. What is it? Pete Complete? Is he also doing nice streams? Oh, wow, wow, wow. Hey guys, Pit, great. Thanks for the bombing Fritz. Nice. Nice to have you in. Okay. This is not, yeah, that's not this symbol for that you stream, that you chat for the first time, but it's just the sign that you came in with the raid. Yeah, alright. Yeah, I was wondering. Pretty sure, yeah, Scratchy, Bombing Fritz, of course, you were in the chat before. And weight loss is also there, great. Yeah, I know it's not the first time. So, where is Itchy, by the way? Yeah, Pit, how was your stream going? Are you still doing the hardcore thingy? Okay, he only plays on the smartphone. Yeah. That's a very bad move, because you can't play U-Boat on the smartphone, right? let's do a bit more time acceleration. Hey, the raid was coming in with Pit. That was the point, of course. I'm also very interested in how Fritz, how you are. But yeah, Pit, you should also be with us. You just didn't yet put any comment in. So welcome all of you. That's a wonderful surprise to have that little raid, or let me say, not that little raid. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we just refueled at our milk cow. We had just done the passage over the Atlantic, refueled with milk cow, and now we are going for our patrol area offshore Canada. Yeah. Yeah, Bombing Fritz, have you been doing some streaming as well? I think when I started, you weren't online, at least not streaming, I mean. I only saw the stream of Pit, actually.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
And on we go. Yeah, I say fuel at that point. Fuel is not that critical now that I have the milk cow around, but well, never take chances. And now let's have Mr. Tremolo Boson at the map. Yeah. Yeah, as for me, I think I'm gonna do a bit more streaming. It's 1:30 around here. I think I'm gonna do maybe not 2 hours, so I don't have to get up that early tomorrow. And yeah, maybe something like if I get up at 8:30, I could afford to do a bit more streaming. Lucky thing is, I might have mentioned it tomorrow. I don't have to drive to work, which usually takes me almost an hour. But I can just get up, get a shower, brush my teeth, and get to my PC on my home office desk. Yeah. The DLC, yes. They still didn't announce a particular date, didn't they? Did they? Yeah, chainsaw, yeah. Yeah, that's a bit frightening. When the last update is so long ago, it might be that they are not progressing as they hoped and that they are afraid to admit that to the community, right? That would be my conclusion or my guess, at least, that this might be the issue then. Yeah, but let's hope for the best. Let's hope that this gut feeling is not right. On we go. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
And yeah, you really recognize it for a small studio. Although I think the U-Boat guys should have more financial backup by now than they have ever dreamt of. I think they should make a bit of money. I mean, the game is not mega popular, but there is quite some community, and well, I hope, I guess, and I hope that they are doing quite a bit of money. Yeah, which means that they might be able to buy in programming support. Yeah, but you never know what they actually do in detail, how they organize themselves. You think so? Fritz, you think that they could afford that? Yeah, maybe I have some kind of a naive imagination of that team. Maybe it's larger than I guess. I don't know. I don't know if they are actually planning to release it on Xbox. I don't remember to have read something like that. I only know that the release on that other console was just something like 2 or 3 months ago for PlayStation.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
Prove me wrong, but I think the PlayStation release was already 2 or 3 months ago, right? But not the Xbox release.
Navigation besetzen.
All right. I wasn't aware that it was also coming out on Xbox already. At least in this stream, I think we only had people mentioning that they were playing on PlayStation.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kalol.
Yeah, it's night time. 2 o'clock. There is a bit of light from the set sun shimmering across the horizon, so it's relatively bright. Actually. Let's see, discipline is alright. Fuel at 94%, okay. So what if I do it like that? Varied dishes of +4, that's still alright. Okay, I completely missed that one, I have to admit. I mean the Xbox release.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kalol.
On we go. And soon we are gonna enter the patrol area. So, morning. Please, Mr. Drummer,
Navigation besetzen.
Bosun, man the map. 8 o'clock. Just sunrise. Yeah, the sunrises and the sunsets are always beautiful in the game.
Predoror 4 gewartet.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe the Xbox release was while I was on holiday. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice of you? By the way, I see the number of watchers going up again. Thanks, guys, for joining. It's a pleasure to have you here. I hope you're fine. Yeah, we are all going into the last lap of the week. And weekend is closing in. And let's finally enter the patrol area.
Patrouillengebiet erreicht.
There we are. Let's report this. To the headquarters. And that's a bit weird, Mr. Schneider doing torpedo maintenance. Come on.
Funkraum besetzen.
Ah, no, perfectly fine. Somehow that was stuck. Couldn't scroll to the left. It's perfectly fine what Mr. Schneider is doing. Just carry on. And now Mr. Preen, he's my second radio man.
Funkraum besetzen.
So let's report to the headquarters that we have reached the patrol area. Ah, okay, interesting. Completely different publisher. That's a bit weird. I never dived that deep. I never dove that deep into the publishing strategies and habits on the gaming market. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? To me, it sounds a bit unusual. Although, yeah, as I said, I'm maybe not the expert to judge what is usual and unusual in the publisher's market.
Funktelegramm gesendet.
But I never heard that before. Maybe they thought that Playway couldn't handle it because it's too much of a small publisher. So now this is about having a bit of patience and
Kurs setzen. Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
yeah, let's do it like that. Let's go for a little while and then do a hydrophone check.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Natürlich, Herr Kaloy.
Yeah, let's go until 2 o'clock. That's the next change of watch, and here we
Etwas
are.
Hilfe gebrauchen.
Jawohl. Ich benötige hier etwas
Let's do a hydrophone check.
Erledigt, Herr Kaloy.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter. Horchraum besetzen.
Yeah, what's happening? You see all the off-watch crew running to the front compartment, to the torpedo room. Here you see Mr. Drummer opening the valves, so now seawater is freely running into our ballast tanks being flooded and finally dragging us down to dive. Depth steers are being manned by now, and the hydrophone as well. Yeah, let's give it an other support, another guy for the hydrophone. And yeah, we don't need the radio anymore, so Mr. Preen can step back to off watch.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
And down we go. Also, the submerged scenery is so wonderful.
25 Meter.
Hey, Paul. Great to have you in. So, yeah, Paul was accompanying me through all my Daisy streams that I did the last 3 days. Thanks for that. You were great support. Mental support. So, how was your day, Paul?
50 Meter.
Now the crew has stopped the engines so that we can do kind of a silent running around here, staying and listening. Yeah, what you probably know is that underwater sound propagates at enormous speed and for enormous ranges, which means that we have fairly nice weather, only 7 knots of wind speed, not too much wind up there, and this gives us more than 90 miles of radius. Actually, we do have an upgrade of the hydrophone. If you have the standard hydrophone, you would still have something like 70 miles of radius.
Aktuelle Tiefe 50 Meter.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. That would be nice if there would be something like that. I mean, in principle, you have fishes passing by now and then.
45 Meter.
So now here it's only kind of a plankton. But you sometimes see fish passing by. But I 100% agree they could do a bit more, and it would be pretty much the footprint of that game to give more details about that. Yeah, I think I did now and then see a fish. Robinson Crusoe and his U-boat. Yeah, maybe you could do some fishing when you run out of supply. Oh yeah, we already heard something, didn't we? So I'm chatting. Now we have it again. That was missing for a while. You didn't have the status bar for the hydrophone check. It was there, and now since, well, something like, I would guess at least 4 months or something, maybe more, we didn't have that status bar. It was still standard to be 5 minutes, but you never had a graphical representation how far you already were through the 5 minutes. So let's give these guys something. Convoy who won? Was it a convoy? No, it's a single. Single contact, medium speed. So it's not slow, it's medium. Singular one. Yeah, let's chase them. The question is if BC is still part of the Operation Drumbeat. Yeah, okay, BC is not anymore part of Operation Drumbeat. So if we go after that guy and sink it, we wouldn't get it credited for our Operation Drumbeat mission. So I think I'm not gonna pursue that guy. Yep, it's a pity, but it would be a bit of a waste of torpedoes. I really just want to home my torpedoes into targets which account for the Operation Drumbeat. Okay, so you don't hear me? Is this what you mean? That my voice is not coming? And what do you mean by menu? This one? So when I click here, you don't hear me anymore. Do I understand you right? Okay, if I do it like this with the escape button, now you don't hear me anymore. 1, 2, 3, test, 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 test.
15 Meter.
I mean, what is actually difficult is when you are here in...
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
I actually don't. Let me briefly check that. If I have the right settings. I usually don't. I don't quite like these filters that you have. Yeah, to be honest, I still didn't quite get the point of what the problem is. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, here we get a lot of noise background. Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that feedback. Just didn't quite get what the problem is. Yeah, by the way, Bombing Fritz, nice that you dropped in. So have a good night. And yeah, sleep well. And yeah, see you maybe tomorrow. Gonna check whether you are online and streaming. Bye bye. Yeah, so I'm gonna ignore that one. Okay, all right. Yeah, all you guys, take a look at the chat. So if you want to watch Mr. Bombing Fritz, and I guess you would do U-Boat again, wouldn't you? Then check in next Tuesday.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
Yeah.
Navigation besetzen.
Yeah, of course, no shore in sight yet. We are far away. Still. Weather, yeah, the wind has increased again up to 16 knots. So it's medium wind speed, but raining. What I pretty much like is this sound of the rain drumming on the steel hull.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Let me do another save of the game. Better safe than sorry. And
Herr Kaloin, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
carry on a
Ich
bit.
könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
By the way, I have to be AFK for 1 minute. Don't go away. I will pause the game. Although, yeah, we know that you never pause it 100%, but that you just make it very, very slow. So, be back in a minute. Okay, so I just had a very basic supper tonight, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of snacking along the gameplay. I'm so sorry guys for the munching noises. Around here it's relatively shallow, 100 to 200 meters obviously. Yeah. Bacon is good. Enjoy it. And in game we are gonna do
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
a hydrophone check. Yeah, the time says it's 11:45, but there is still daylight shimmering over the horizon. That's because our clock shows Greenwich time, or maybe even Berlin time, not quite sure about that. But that means that we have this kind of time shift of, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. And so we have a very late sunset and a very late sunrise in the game. Yeah, we could have shared the bacon online. Paul, by the way, is it tactical bacon?
35 Meter.
Hey, Aquicing. Nice to have you in. Good evening. How are you doing?
50 Meter.
So we do have a bit of water in the village. Yeah, that's perfectly uncritical. Just some water dripping in constantly. No leak. Yeah, I'm fine.
45 Meter.
We had a bit of a tough week at work because we are still discussing these kind of saving plans for the future. And that becomes a bit rough now and then. But, well, finally. Looks like we have a good plan, and next week we have to sell it to the management. So, job-wise, I'm fine. And private-wise, just as well. Everything all right. I had a lot of streams. I think I did stream almost every day of the week up to now. Because I could kind of manage to start a little bit later with working. And yeah, sometimes this just means that, well, starting later means call it a day later. Yeah, you could beam it. The transporter chief, Chief O'Brien, or Mr. Scott. But at the moment, there seems to be nothing in audible range. But now you see we have meanwhile a storm. The wind has risen to a strength of 24 knots, and now we have a very limited listening range because of the wind and the rain and the waves and the hurly-burly going on the surface, and that definitely reduces our range. Here you see just 22 miles, while in good weather we have something like 90 miles of range. Yeah, there are moon phases in DayZ. They have it. I'm pretty sure they have, you just usually don't recognize it because you don't live long enough to go through a complete phase. I mean, not particularly you, but all of us don't live long enough in DayZ. Same for me. I usually try to avoid
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloi?
playing at nights. Okay, this time I don't have the status bar again. I don't know. That's weird. Sometimes you get the status bar of the hydrophone check and sometimes not. Yeah, no ship in range. Within the range, we should be able to detect just any moving propeller. Of course, if the ship wouldn't move, if it would be stationary, you wouldn't recognize it. Well, except for if it were sinking, then you might hear the braking hatches, the braking bulwarks.
Anblasen.
And there we go back to the surface. Did I say bulwark? I meant bulkhead, of course. Say bulwark, I meant. Yeah, guys, I'm almost through.
Aktuelle Tiefe 20
Through my late night supper.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
It's almost midnight, according to Berlin time. So let's carry on.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
So let's see, what is it at that time? Yeah, now it's completely dark. So imagine if they look at the air, still storming. But if you look at the time now, 2 o'clock probably relates to something like 10 or 9 o'clock. I think we should have something like 4 hours, 5 hours of time difference. Yeah, the hunting hasn't yet really started. So, in the end of the last stream, we did the crossing of the Atlantic. In the beginning of the stream an hour ago, we got some refueling with the milk cow. And now we are in our target area and we just had one hydrophone contact here of a single, probably merchant, but it was moving that direction, and it was already out of the range for our mission of Operation Drumbeat. So it was BC, which is not part of the mission area anymore. So I didn't follow it, because if I sank it, it wouldn't score, wouldn't be accounted for Operation Drumbeat. Now let's carry on. Time 2 o'clock, and on we go. By the way, I wanted to turn on the pump, right? Hey, hey. Pretty nice. I see the number of watches going up. That's great. Nice to have you in, guys. Welcome. How are you doing? How do you like the game? Always glad to get some feedback into the chat, but on the other hand, don't feel pushed into something if you just want to silently watch and lurk. That's just fine. And of course, I'm always happy to get another follower.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
And on we go. The bosun is officer of the watch again, so let him do some navigation. He doesn't know anything about the engines, so he can make himself useful at the map to increase the navigation correctness again. Next change of watch. And come on, let's do another hydrophone check.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
Yeah, so this is a standard workflow for the crew, which means when I order it, the off-watch crew is gonna assemble in the front torpedo room to give diving ballast. Somebody is gonna open the valves. It already happened. The depth steers are being manned. And here you see the ballast tanks already being flooded. And now the crew is gonna bring the boat down to 50 meters, stops the engines,
Aktuelle Tiefe.
and Mr. Preen is gonna do some 5 minutes listening for contacts.
Großer Konvoi. Heilung 230 K.
And as the weather has improved, wind has slowed down to 9 knots, we have a decent range of detection. Yeah, it correlates to the wind speed and the waves, so it's still slightly reduced.
40 Meter.
That would be our maximum detection range if we have perfect weather.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloi?
So, large convoy, medium speed.
50 Meter.
No information whether it's moving away or coming in.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle. Aktuelle Tiefe 45 Meter.
Yeah, when I detect a contact, I always finish the 5 minutes of hydrophone check, just to see, like now, if there are any other contacts around. That's a single one. Single ones are usually more easy, but it's moving with high speed, so it might be more tricky to intercept it, but it is moving towards me. Let's call it single 2. If it's moving with high speed, what does it mean? Probably means that they are moving with high speed. 12 knots, maybe faster. I think I'm gonna go for that single contact.
Meter.
Yeah, often single contacts are easy prey. Maybe I'm gonna mark the time and the date. June 12th, 10:06. Yeah, I could kind of try to find out which direction they're moving later. And maybe follow them then.
Anblasen.
There we go. Back to the surface. And now
Äußerste Kraft
I
voraus.
want you guys to go flank
Kurs auf
and
diese
go for that convoy for 1 hour. Flat sea, good weather, so in 1 hour we should do something like 17 knots. Doing some time acceleration, and here we are 1 hour later. And now we have one data point, so the hydrophone told us that they are there with a rough estimation that they were moving towards us. So this second data point is a complete guess in terms of direction, but in terms of speed, let's see if we can confirm it by doing another hydrophone check.
50 Meter.
Hey guys, nice to have you in. Always happy to see that the number of watchers is going up. And yeah, we are doing the hydrophone check now. You see Mr. Grade just having opened the valves. The depth steers being about to be manned. And here we see, after having opened the valves, how sea water is flooding the ballast tanks. The crew has been assembling in the front compartment, at least the off-watch crew. Hey, hi, Volvolu.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Nice to have you in. How are you doing? How's been your day?
Schraubengeräusch. Handelsschiff. Peilung 15 Grad.
Yeah. We are on the final stretch towards the weekend. But yeah, maybe it's not your weekend, right? I remember that sometimes you have to work.
45 Meter.
But yeah, let's not talk much about work. So by the way,
Schraubengeräusche. Großer Konvoi. Peilung
now let's first do this. Where did it end? So my guess wasn't that bad, right? Maybe it's moving a bit faster. Single O2. 30 knots maybe. So I'm gonna have to change my course to intercept them decently.
40 Meter.
Hey, chainsaw, yeah. Yeah, okay, Volvolu. You have to work over the weekend, but yeah, maybe instead you had 1 or 2 days off over the week. I hope that you get some compensation like that.
50 Meter. Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Okay, interesting. They had been moving there. So that was the convoy 01. Okay, they are relatively slow. So I could maybe after having sunk, hopefully having sunk that single ship, maybe we could turn around and try to track down this convoy. Heading maybe for New York. Yeah, okay. Yep. Still, no. We had these contacts. Nevertheless, let's finish the hydrophone check. We can invest these 5 minutes.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
By the way, discipline is still alright. We are perfectly fine with the variety of dishes of 2. 2 different dishes makes +4 in the discipline. Diesel is just below 90%, which is still alright. This would easily bring us back home over the Atlantic, and we still have the possibility, the opportunity to refuel at our milk cow. So 1 more hour would bring them there. And 1 more hour would bring us. That would become tricky to intercept that guy.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten.
Flank speed for 1 hour, and then we are going to do another hydrophone check to confirm their
Kurs auf diese
position and their course and their speed. So it was 11:15. Let's accelerate until 12:15. Here we are. And we are gonna do another hydrophone check.
auf 50 Meter.
That ship should be here by now. Let's see if we can confirm that. And the next routine hydrophone check. Doesn't that look beautiful? I really love that. It looks so dynamic.
Schraubengeräusch. Handelsschiff. Peilung 300 Grad.
So, Vulvulu, Aqua Icing, have you been playing U-Boat lately? Any adventures?
Aktuelle Tiefe 45 Meter.
Or, well, any other games that you actually do? I'm pretty focused, I have to admit. Since a while, I'm not playing that much of a variety of games.
50 Meter.
Just due to the lack of time, actually.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Oh shit, might be that they are moving even faster than I thought. Single O2. Maybe it's going 14 knots. Ah, Anno, yeah. It's a nice game. I've been playing Anno, but it's quite some time ago. And yeah, nice game actually. It's just another one of these games where you actually dump so many hours into, isn't it? It's not a game which you just do for, well, play it for 20 minutes and then be on your way. Yeah. That's quite some years ago that this first part of that game came out, yeah. Anybody remembers when it was released, the first Anno game? The 2000 years? Or the 90s even? Mid-90s already? Yeah, might be. I would have guessed early 2000s, but maybe it was already... Okay, alright. Already the 90s, interesting, yeah. That was the time when I was still living in Düsseldorf, yeah.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
So it's them there. And yeah, looks like the other guys, they went out of range, so we wouldn't get any contact from them at the moment. But let's keep it in mind. We have been going for 1 more hour, so that means now they might be there. The football clubs, yeah. Yeah, well. So it's Fortuna Düsseldorf. In the last years, they have been playing a lot in the second league only. So maybe they are not the most famous team, but if you're a bit familiar with the German teams, you might have known them, yep. Yeah, Frankfurt. Yeah, actually, I'm working in Frankfurt, yeah, by now. And maybe you also know Mainz. So, if you come from Frankfurt and drive to the west, you pass Mainz and then another 20 minutes or 15 minutes and you hit the place where I live. So it's Mainz 05. Just wanted to mark them, so by now they should be there, if my figures are right. we are still diving. Yeah, but we should be through.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
Yeah, Rammstein shouldn't be too far from here, but to be honest, I don't exactly know where it is. It's a pretty meaningless town. Oh, well, sorry guys, if somebody's from Rammstein, it's for sure it's a nice town, but it's pretty small and nobody would know it if it were not that kind of US headquarters and if there were not the band. And so I have to admit that I'm not quite sure where it is. I think you would have to drive further to the west from my place and maybe another hour or something and you might roughly hit Rammstein.
20 Meter.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Yeah, come on. I mean, watch duty might be pretty dumb, so people might do pretty dumb stuff then. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't dare to judge that, but yeah. My own military service is quite a lot of years ago. And I was just doing the 1 year, which at that time everybody had to do. Yeah, for the last few decades, the front line was pretty far away, but nowadays, well, things have changed. Yeah, back to the surface, so let's carry on. Flying speed. And yeah, them going with 14 miles and us going with 17 would bring us there into a nice position to intercept that guy. What would be the distance by then? 6 miles. Yeah, that's perfect. Let's go in like that. Maybe give it another save. So 12:30. Let's go for 1:30. Yeah, moving flank speed always burns quite a lot more fuel, but yeah, we are still fine in terms of fuel. On we go. And here we are. So it's early afternoon, 1:30, that's fine. So pretty much looks like this is gonna be a day encounter. And hey, see the smoke there? So the smoke looks a bit like I am off and that guy is moving. Doesn't quite look like I would have expected it.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen. Bestätige.
Yeah, they're not quite in the position where I had expected them to be. Maybe I should correct the course to something like that.
Torpedorohr 3 gewartet.
So I did overshoot a bit.
Kurs setzen.
No filter at the moment. There they are, moving from the right to the left. Yeah, since the last months, I did get the impression that they are actually zigzagging more than they did in the past. So, this looks a bit like this guy has changed his course. We are moving flank. Degrees, and yeah, pretty far away actually.
Alarm. Handelsschiff in Sicht. Heilung 65 Grad.
Yeah, there they are. Is it a tanker? That one? I don't think so. Might be this one. Might be a Liberty. Or maybe. I think we are gonna have to get down. I think we're gonna have to get down to periscope depth.
Auf Seerohrtiefe.
Let's do it. Now you see the crew clearing the bridge. Yeah, guys, you can step away from battle stations for now. You don't have to be on alarm all that time until we close in. Yeah, do you really use them? I mean, if I'm happen to run into the night in DayZ, I usually don't dare to use a light because it makes you a moving target, a well illuminated walking target to just anybody. So if I run through the night, I usually just, yes, I try to stay in the dark by myself and not illuminate myself. Okay, yeah, then it's uncritical, but I don't know. I think the Zs usually are attracted by the sound, right? By the way, you're talking about DayZ at the moment and not about Project Zomboid, right? You recovered offline, that's weird. But that's a bug then. That's more like a bug. Usually you're not supposed to have time accelerating, time continuing while you're offline. Usually you should get back into the game exactly in the state as you were before, independently if you played the day before or a week before or a month before. So that's a bit weird. Yes, okay, yeah, that's right. Of course, that might be the case, differing from server to server, yep, depending on the set of mods that you have installed, yep. I mean, installed on the server. Completely right. So let's assume that they are roughly moving that course. No, usually time is progressing on the server. So when you log off in the evening, then time is gonna progress on the server, and when you log back in, it's just this kind of natural time that you get then. Where the server goes on in time, but you, and when you log off, you are taken out of reality. That's something that I'm pretty sure about after having played the game for something like 10 years. When you leave the server, your character should be frozen, but time on the server goes on. I mean, that's because it's an online game, so all the time other people are on the server and they are playing and playing, and while you're offline they are having a real time on the server, and then you go back 5 or 6 hours, yeah, something like that. But usually I saw it differently, but usually most of the servers, when they restart at something like 6 o'clock, so it approaches 6 o'clock on the server and then it restarts, then after the restart it will also be 6 o'clock. They are usually pretty consistent, and then time just rolls on. And time goes on no matter whether you are on the server or not.
Ich benötige hier Unterstützung. Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloin.
Okay, I lost target, but no big deal, we are gonna get it. There they are. Yeah, I think it's just an ordinary C3. And it is probably moving pretty fast. Looks like it's going with something like 14 knots. That was my dead reckoning. I think they are. We have to calculate with something like 14 knots. Now, 75 degrees is the angle, their angle, their bearing. Ah, shit. Just didn't want to do that. So let's get rid of them. What I wanted to do was measuring the angle of, what was it? 75 degrees. Okay. I don't know. I think they're going a different course than my extrapolation tells. Angle on bow. Well, something like that, but that's just guesswork. Distance. 7-9. Something like 4 to 5 miles.
Alle Maschinen, stopp!
Maybe I should just stop it. Maybe I should send Mr. Grad, our chief engineer, to help the crewmates stabilizing the depth steers. So now Mr. Grade should turn up to do some consulting onto these two guys. Yeah, there. That looks a bit smart assing like, right? Him doing this finger pointing. So I think I don't need the additional crewmates at the observation telescope. I just want to stick to the
Ja.
come on, they're definitely on another course than I
Äußerste Kraft voraus.
thought. 70 degrees. And their angle on bow would be something like 45, maybe. $70. 45. It's more like them going something like that. That's what I think. Yeah, we are getting in closer. What's the status of the torpedoes? Yeah, okay. Mr. Schneider, please do some maintenance on torpedo number 4. And you get additional crewmates. Do you? Oh, no. No, it still takes a while until we are in firing range, so no hurries.
Halbe Fahrt voraus.
Any guess on the flag? Yeah, we are closing in. We are closing in. Let's give another estimate of the distance. Something like that. 3. Bit less than 2 miles. 75. Something like 2 miles. Must be going like that. I think we are coming in beautifully to sink that guy. Yeah, we are just broaching the surface. Guys, please take care that this doesn't happen too often. American, it's a US ship. And since 1 or 2 months we are at war with the US. So this is a target. Mr. Schneider, now you have to do some work. Flank. Maintain the remaining torpedoes, please. Our bosun, Mr. Tremor, please man the torpedo calculator. There he goes. Up the ladder. And the torpedo calculator. There they are. They are coming in by now. Give me another distance.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Entfernung zum Ziel. 1,972 Meter. Kurs setzen.
Change course. Give it another save. And
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
all right, then give me the maintenance of torpedo tube 2, please. And flank. So which one? I think torpedo tube 1 is the only one which is now relatively badly maintained. 3. The distance once more.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Entfernung 1,450 Meter. Lage 4,5 links. Geschwindigkeit 1,4 Knoten.
Let's lower the periscope. Don't want to be spotted.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
I guess let's stick to 14 knots. That's probably the correct speed. W197. Just in case we completely fuck it up. Torpedo tube number 3, please maintain it just as well. Distance.
Aktualisieren. Entfernung 8,43 Meter. Aktualisieren. Lage 8,3 links. Rohr 1 bewässern.
So what's their draught? 7.3. Let's give it 8.
Los! Rohr 2 bewässern.
Torpedorohr 3 gewartet.
40 Sekunden bis Torpedoeinschlag.
Rohr 2 bewässern.
Los! 30 Sekunden. Rohr 3, bewässern.
Rohr 3 bewässert.
20 Sekunden. Los! Feindliches Schiff getroffen.
Wow. Okay.
Schwere Schäden.
Got him. Heavy
40
damages.
Sekunden bis Torpedoeinschlag. 40 Sekunden bis Torpedoeinschlag. 30 Sekunden. 30 Sekunden. 20 Sekunden. Feindliches Schiff getroffen. Feindliches Schiff
twice.
getroffen. Schwere Schäden. Schwere Schäden.
3 hits. Very good. Yeah, reloading. Yeah, see. They're listing heavily. They are listing heavily by now. I caught them completely by surprise, probably. All the bulkheads were open, hopefully.
Die Besatzung evakuiert das Schiff.
And there they are evacuating. Yeah.
Rohr 1 geladen.
Anblasen.
So
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter.
let's get to the surface.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Na,
Herr Kaloin, wir sind aufgetaucht. Herr Kaloin,
Kurs setzen.
now, radio officer, Mr. Hinrich, please
Raum besetzen.
report this to the headquarters.
Herr Kaloin, eingehendes Funktelegramm.
Natürlich, Herr Kaloy.
Yeah, let's receive that.
Funkspruch erhalten.
Okay, they're being torpedoed. Send report.
Funktelegramm gesendet. Herr Kapitän?
Yeah, it didn't yet finally sink. That was lifeboat number 1. What about lifeboat number 2? I want to have the officers on board.
Perfekt. Einer weniger.
Lifeboat 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Get these guys.
Alle Maschinen, stopp!
So lifeboat 1. Give them some supplies.
Rohr 1 gewartet. Rohr 3 geladen.
This will actually give us additional reputation if we do that. Lifeboat number 2. Lifeboat number 3. And lifeboat number 4. All of them getting some food supplies, giving us additional reputation, not being completely heartless, not being a heartless asshole. So now let's radio the success. I am curious what tonnage we actually got down. These ships are pretty large. Maybe we did half.
Funktelegramm gesendet.
That was pretty small. It was just 2,200. Okay. That was a small one then.
Halbe Fahrt voraus. Alle Maschinen, stopp!
Yeah, I would love to intercept that convoy. Might well be possible. They seem to be pretty far away, but yeah, the sinking takes so long. I wonder if it's worthwhile to do the looting of this jetsam. The floating containers, I think, just doesn't make any
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten.
difference.
Halbe Fahrt voraus.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloin. AK voraus.
So 1 day, 1 hour, another hour, third hour. What about them? One, two, three. Let's go for... yeah, we are fine. We should be able to catch up with them. Only point is that they might have changed their course meanwhile. Yeah, what about the food? Let's go like that. Do we have... yeah, we also have absorbers in the ventilation installed. Discipline is fine, so we look pretty alright, I would say. Water in the bilge, so please somebody turn on the pump, the bilge pump. Yeah, give it a save. We did successfully sink the guy. And now it is 2:10. So let's go for 3 hours till 5:10.
Rohr 2 geladen.
Past 3. 4. 5:10. Like that. And now let's do another hydrophone check. The weather is still fine, so we should have some decent range. They should be somewhere there. Let's... shall we? Already now?
Torpedo-Rohr 2 gewartet.
Yeah, come on, let's do a hydrophone check. And see if we hear them. Yeah, the ballast tank's being flooded already. And down we go.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Ah, no, it's the other way around. It's not that we still have to do 7,800, but we did 7,800. Yeah, of course. So that was a big one. I was surprised. I couldn't believe that this guy was only 2,200 tons. Yeah, just misinterpreting the notes up there. Yeah, sink.
Aktuelle Tiefe
Enemy ships with a Total gross registered. Yeah, it's a bit misleading if you look at it word by word, but we did 7,800 out of 10,000. So one more ship should actually do it, so that we have fulfilled the mission. Let's see.
50 Meter.
I'm curious if we are gonna able to detect these guys.
Meter.
Schraubengeräusch. Handelsschiff. Peilung
Torpedo Rohr 3
340 Grad.
gewartet.
Okay, interesting. What do we have here? A new contact, I think.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloy?
Medium speed. Single 03. But
Herr Kapitän?
unclear. Don't know what their heading is. Yeah, let's finish the check. I'm still hoping that I pick up a contact of this convoy. Oh, yeah.
Peilung
Nice.
340 Grad.
Hey, look at that. My dead reckoning was pretty correct. And that was convoy 01, I think, right? Yes. Yeah. That's not bad. Yeah, looks like we do have a good extrapolation of their course. Nice. So if I would go for 1 more hour, 2 more hours. Yeah, let's carry on for 2 hours and then do another hydrophone check. Or, well, let's first finish this one. Hey guys, I see that there is quite some people coming in and going out watching the stream. So if you like what you see, why don't you just put a comment into the chat? I would perfectly like that. But yeah, if you just want to watch, that's fine.
Peilung 345 Grad.
But yeah, I always feel this little urge to mention why I love to do streaming, and it is because I love gaming, because I love the particular games that I stream, and because I love the interaction with you guys. I find it so fascinating to communicate with people like that, and particularly I'm fascinated by the concept that I can communicate with people which are an ocean away and sharing the gaming with you. Might sound a bit pathetic, but yeah, that's actually how I feel about streaming. And that's actually why I always love to get some feedback, so don't hesitate to give a hi in the chat
350
or
Grad.
comment on the game. What's your experience? Are you new? Are you an old salt? What were your last adventures in the game? But as I said, you are completely anonymous. Don't feel pushed into anything. And if you'd like to watch silently, just watch silently. Yeah.
40 Meter.
There we are, getting back to the surface.
20 Meter.
And there we are.
Auf diesem
Nice, isn't it? I love the atmospheric graphics of the game. Some people might think that I am actually a paid advertiser for that gaming studio. No, I'm definitely not. I wish I were a paid gamer. Oh, to be honest, not quite sure if I would really wish to do it. There is a saying that you should never make a profession out of your hobbies. And I think that's quite right. So 2 hours, 2 more hours. Let's give it a save, front up. And then time, 5:15. So we go until 6:15. By the way, we have to adjust
Navigation besetzen.
the team, and right now I want to have you, Mr. Arlest, who manage the engines, although you are off watch. Please. Too late to make your passion a living. Yep, same for me. Same for me. Well, actually, meanwhile, at least I make my living with something that, at least partly, I would call a passion. No, what I don't mean that I make a living partly with this one here. I don't earn any money with this one, with the streaming. I mean my real life job. So there are parts of my real life job which I quite loathe, and parts of my real life job which I love. Yeah, you did? So what you say is that you actually did make your passion a living of. Yeah, nice. That's great. That's really great if you managed to do that. Oh, nice. That sounds good. I never was much of an expert for music, but over the last months I really fell in love with a podcast, which is about music production partly. So I don't know if anybody in the stream actually knows it, but I love it, and all the hours I spend in the car going to work and back home, I pretty much enjoy these podcasts. They are released weekly since something like 2 or 3 years, I think. And what these guys do is they pick. There is a book from, I think the guy's name is Robert Dinery or something, and he has written a book about the 1001 rock and pop albums you must have heard before you die. And these guys actually make a bit fun out of it, because each week they randomly pick one of these 1001 albums you must have heard before you die, and yeah, really kind of yeah, discuss it for 1 hour and discuss whether it's really good, if you really have to have heard it or not. And yeah, these guys are a bit of music experts, I think, but just on more or less hobby kind of basis. And they are kind of, yeah, screw friends. I think these guys are all old pals, and it's really, really funny to listen how they start to dive into these albums. The name of the podcast is 1001 Album Complaints. If you put it into Spotify, you will get some of these podcasts right away. And pretty much like them. It's some, bunch of something like 4 or 5 American US guys who do that. Yeah, and that's real fun. Really recommend that. Yeah, it looks a bit like these guys are actually making a living of doing podcasts, or at least partly. Yeah, well, what they actually do is they react on this book, which lists 1001 albums, and they each at the end of each podcast they kind of randomly select which album of these 1001 they are gonna discuss next week. And they discuss through it, tell you the history of the artist or the band, and finally, a bit like that. But it's I would call it's pretty respectful. So they are making jokes, and if they don't like the band, they really give it a beating. But there's also again and again albums which they respect a lot and give a lot of credit to. And after each series, they vote. So they are 5 people in the podcast, and then they vote whoever they agree that this album is one which you must have heard before you die or not. And yeah, pretty funny. I really love it. By the way, let me be AFK just for 1 minute. Save, and the game just running. Not gonna stop it. So you have the con, guys. Yeah, that's right. I mean, the money they make with the podcast and split it by 5 dudes, so they're probably not making $1 million with it. But I don't know, I think they should have quite some community behind. And they are really worth it. These are these kind of guys, and where I would really be happy to hear that they make a lot of money with it. I doubt that they do, but they would really earn it. Yeah, it's a long list. I mean, it's classics. It's like albums by Johnny Cash or what do we have? Muddy Waters, or more recent ones like they're making fun of Kid Rock, which it was, and what else do they have? Like Blur, this Britpop stuff. I heard the comments on the podcasts about Oasis, and yeah, pretty funny. But not only funny, but also interesting because they deliver quite a bit of background information. Hey, Big Smoky Smo, great to have you in the chat. Yeah, I am. I am pretty alright, actually. It's getting late around here, but maybe I could still spend a little bit of time. Think I can sleep a little bit longer tomorrow. How are you, by the way? How are you, and what's your relation to this game? Do you play it by yourself? Or just by chance dropped into the stream? Hey Paul, I didn't quite get your remark, I have to admit. What do you mean with that? Will it spoil fast? Are you talking about that podcast? Okay. Different found milk in the car. Well, actually, just a few weeks ago I actually milk. That's an interesting server that you have. Interesting mods. I think I never played DayZ on mods where you actually have milk. That's amazing. So I can't say anything about if it spoils or, well, in DayZ you have to expect just anything. Yeah, exactly, there's powdered milk. But what I never did, I never tried if I could mix powdered milk with water. Yeah, amazing. I never had that. So you must, yeah, you said you are playing on a private server, not on vanilla. No idea. Never, I'm 100% sure that I never found milk. I mean fresh milk. But now that we are talking about it, I think next time I find powdered milk, I'm gonna try whether I could mix it into water, something like that. Yeah, creamer. You mean the coffee creamer, yeah? That's not quite what you need, but what we do, I mean, since many years I'm doing outdoor trips in the summer holidays, and yeah, what I usually do is I do have powdered milk with me, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, I do have a pack of muesli of white oats and a pack of powdered milk, and then I just cook. I bring water to the boil and throw in the powdered milk and the white oats, and that gives a wonderful breakfast. Yeah, exactly. That's porridge. That's just porridge. Only thing is that I prefer it with sugar and not salted. But indeed, yeah, it's kind of sweet porridge. And for this, powdered milk is perfectly fine. You just shouldn't take that milk, the powdered milk that you put into the coffee, because that uses to be something weird. Yeah, oats, that's my breakfast. Only point is that since a few years I just don't have breakfast. I have a long way to drive to work, so what I usually do is I just get a banana into the car and have it on the way while I'm listening to these podcasts. But yeah, whenever I'm at home having breakfast and it's not weekend, I have cereal, yeah. By the way, let's take a look and carry on. Right now, we went on for 2 hours. I think it's time for another hydrophone check. So these guys should be somewhere around here. Let's check if that's right. Yeah, it's 7:20 in the evening and it's still pretty bright daylight. That's again to the fact that the time is not the local time, but the time is either Greenwich or Berlin time. Not quite sure, but definitely European time, which is quite a nice feature. It would be great if you had 2 watches, one watch showing the local time and one watch showing Berlin or Greenwich time, yeah, or both. So down we go. The crew assembled in the front compartment. Here you see the ballast tanks being filled. Yeah, that's what I love so much about the game, that it's like, yeah, it's not like a machine. You just, press a button and then things happen, but in this game you really give an order and then the crew is carrying out things. So many people are doing it. Like in a clockwork, they are doing things, and only because people are actually acting on your order, finally the boat is operated by the people and reacts to your order. And that feels so real. Never had any game which felt kind of more real than this one. I mean, not any simulation. This interface is so great. I mean, if you have aircraft simulator, like a jet plane, there it's the difference. You just have your buttons and press them and something happens. But here, this is crew really actually carrying out orders. Oh, hey, Big Smoky Smo. Sorry, I just ignored your question there about the depth control gauge. So, if you're still in, I hope you're not pissed off because I ignored your question. So, sorry that I did. I mean, are you actually playing the game in this 100% first person? So I never did that, because the developers said that it is still kind of a development phase and even they don't recommend to do it. But I'm always curious, and I was always thinking about actually doing it and doing a playthrough just in first person. Because it's so great. I mean, here.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Jump into the... Here. I love it. I love it. You never had anything like that in terms of graphics. I mean, it's not perfect, but yeah. Yeah, just wonderful. As I said, I really love it. But yeah, back to your question, I don't know. I really don't know how you would do it in first person if you play the game 100% first person. I think it's tricky. Like you say, you have a bit of a struggle, but Yeah, I don't know how experienced you are in the game. Have you been playing it in third person like I do before? I guess you had, right?
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloin.
Oh, come on. Oh. So, this is the convoy, which I'm actually heading for. And then there is plenty of other contacts around.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloy? Schraubengeräusch. Handelsschiff. Peilung 275 Grad.
Signal OX, I don't know.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloy?
Where do they all come from? Convoy O. 2.
Ja?
And there is another enormously large convoy. Ah, loads of ships around. Another, let's call it convoy O. 3. And I'm just going into it.
Kurs setzen.
They are still there. I think I would love to go for this convoy. It's a bit further away, but I have a good idea of its speed, of its heading. So another
25 Meter.
2 hours would bring them there, and another 2 hours would bring us where?
Meter.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloin, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Yep, there we are. All right. Hey, Big Smoky Smo, are you still there? Time of the day, yeah, it's evening, so this is most probably gonna be a night encounter. Past 7. Let's go for 8:30. 1 hour. Come on, let's give it another hydrophone check.
50 Meter.
Oh shit. Oh, I did some... just carry on.
Kurs setzen.
This tank is flooded.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter.
E-Motoren wechseln.
Now again. Listen carefully. Discipline is fine.
50 Meter.
Großer Konvoi.
Well, we're still pretty alright in terms of fuel.
Ja?
Let's assume that it is this one.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
That's quite a large convoy. 32 to 68 ships.
Aktuelle Tiefe 45 Meter. Schraubengeruch. Peilung 0 Grad. Herr Kaloy? Schraubengeräusch. Handelsschiff. Peilung 270 Grad. 50 Meter.
Meter.
Yeah, I guess this is this one.
Torpedorohr 1 gewaffnet.
Ja?
Now, yeah, actually we want to have this position here confirmed. Oh, actually here. I only went for 1 hour, so new position of that convoy should be there. So I'm pretty well acquainted with the course and the speed of that convoy. So that would be just natural to go for that one. Although there are a few other ships which are pretty close. I think I'm gonna go for that one. But
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
I really want to get their position confirmed. At the moment I don't get any. Of course it might be that they are kind of shadowed. So I have contacts here and here. So it might be that, yeah, I'm pretty sure actually, yeah, because if I consider it, I'm pretty sure that these effects are hidden in the game, which means if there is a convoy here, we just wouldn't be able to hear it because they are in the shadow of that and that one. So don't lose faith, they are still there, we just can't hear them. And this one is right in the line of sight. So I guess this one is hiding these contacts.
Anblasen.
All right, there we go, back to the surface.
Großer Konvoi. Peilung, 245 Grad. 20 Meter.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Akaloin, wir sind aufgetaucht.
All right, give it a save and allow me to be AFK for another just 60 seconds. Now, back again. Thanks for your patience and great that you are still in the stream, guys. But did we get... No, we didn't get any information, so we are gonna go for 1 more hour and then do another hydrophone check.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Maybe then we get a clear sight, or well, a clear hearing of them. This convoy then must be here. 20 to 9. 20 to 10, here we are. There are so many ships around. At least it feels like that. So many contacts that you might just be afraid that you run directly into them. And yeah, right now, let's do another hydrophone check.
Tauchen auf 50.
Maybe now we get some clear eyes on them. Now we get some clear ears on them. Hopefully. By the way, a few more people in the stream. Welcome, guys. So, don't feel observed. I just see the number going up. So, watching is very welcome, but of course, I'm always happy to get some comments in the chat. Or maybe some of you guys might consider to give me a follow. That would be so kind. Cheers. Now here we are, just about to go down for another hydrophone check.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter. Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Hey, that completely depends. I think the airdrops, they are also not vanilla, are they?
20 Meter.
I think that completely depends on the server, on the mods that you actually have. I don't know. I think it would. Usually it's persistent.
270 Grad.
I would think that just because there was a server restart, things like that wouldn't vanish. So that would be my guess, that they would definitely be persistent across server restarts.
50 Meter.
Schraubengeräusche.
Yeah, did you spot an airdrop and now you're going after it and are not sure whether it's worthwhile because you had a server restart, yeah? But yeah, I would take the chance if I were you. I would actually assume that you would still get it after the restart.
Handelsschiff. Peilung 245 Grad.
Aktuelle Tiefe 45 Meter.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, probably. Haven't been using iSurvive for quite a while.
Großer Konvoi. Peilung
So, by the way, what server are you playing on? I mean,
50
you don't have to say if you fear stream snipers, but which one are you playing on? I'm curious about that. I have a small set of servers that I used to play, so I'm always interested in kind of extend blue games. Okay, no, I never heard. Ah, yes, the Arstein map. I think you mentioned that yesterday or the day before yesterday. It's that small but nice map that you mentioned, right? Yeah, Sweden, Norway. I think I would like it. Arstein. Didn't I note it already? Somewhere here. Let me put it down. I think I would like to try it. Yeah, the teddy bear you have on just any server, haven't you? I think the teddy bear you even have on vanilla, right? But yeah, never rely on me with such statements because I haven't been playing vanilla for years.
Ja.
Oh, okay, that's them. That's them. That's actually the convoy that I want to get. And they're pretty much there where I would have expected them. That was convoy O. O what? O1. That's very nice. But let's see the other guys. So we have one
Schraubengeräusch.
there,
Peilung 255
SOX.
Grad.
So my guess is that that's how they are moving.
Herr Kaloi.
And this one, maybe C2. Don't know. Oh, 2.
Ja.
CO3, that's them, I guess. Let's mark it like that. All right, that looks pretty good. Half an hour would bring them there. Half an hour would bring us there.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Ah, yeah, we're still submerged and getting up. All right, get back to the surface right in time. Ah, somebody's coughing. Coughing, that's always suspicious. Not that it is tuberculosis.
Aktuelle Tiefe 40 Meter. Meter.
Yeah, it must be getting dark sooner or later, and I hate night attacks. I really don't like night attacks, but I think we already had some set, hadn't we? Yeah, the sun is down actually, so it's gonna be dark soon. Hey, what is this? A single guy. Oops. So that looked a bit buggy, obviously. Suddenly the guy vanished. $17. 8.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Ten to 10.
Kurs setzen.
So what's the distance? No, well, still 10 miles. Yeah, so far away still. See? It starts to rain, and over there, that's probably them. Wouldn't have expected that they are still visible on the horizon, but obviously they are. Okay. Pretty clearly to be seen. The columns of the convoy. Head. Yeah. Abreast. Port abreast. $300.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
There they are. And they're at 300. Rain and storm, yep. yeah. So I hope you have some decent gear, which doesn't get too wet. So what's your clothing, by the way?
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Natürlich, Herr Kaloy.
Yeah, vest is always good because the vest, on the one hand, the vest gives you additional protection from cold, and on the other hand, it gives you additional carrying capacity. I mean, if it's a vest like that, or of course, there is always also these anti-step vest, assault backpack. Hey, that's a good one. That assault backpack is a good one. It has good camo and an enormous carrying capacity with a relatively low visibility cross-section, right? Yes.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Alright guys, so this is the final approach now starting, and if I look at the time, it's 3 o'clock. I have to turn in. I really have to turn in, although I would love to continue at that point. Maybe we could continue tomorrow night. So this is an enormous convoy, loads of ships and probably also loads of escorts, pretty sure, being aligned in a nice column. So let's give it a save. And so what do you think, guys? Shall we see if there is some stream which is worth raiding? Hey, come on. As I've been playing a bit of DayZ lately, let's go to Foxy Annika. I'm not watching her streams regularly, but whenever I dropped in, I did quite like her style. Let's go for that one. Let's do a raid. I haven't been doing a raid for quite some time. Aqua Icing, yeah, have a good night. But I am, yeah, Paul, just as well, have a good night. But let me do this raid. Ah, shit. Ah, come on. It looks like she's not playing anymore. I'm gonna... let's not do that right. Looks like she's just stopped and is just about to go to bed. Alright, guys. So... Have a good night. So, without a raid. See you tomorrow, or what, if I look at the time, see you today. Have a good one, have a good Friday, and smoothly rush into the weekend. See you guys.